Ready to go. Wonderful. We already have a chat out there. Oh, from Rachel. Okay, good. How about participants? We don't have any attendees yet. So let's avoid, let's call our meeting to order at 7 p.m. This is the Hamlet of Beavercreek board meeting, March 16th of 2023. And we are conducting this meeting via Zoom, which means it is being recorded. Okay, let's go to, there's no land use applications. The Kara School continues down its path. The last thing we did was on March 9th, the historic review. There was a historic review board hearing. The primary purpose was to say, once the building is gone, can the land no longer be identified as historic land? And the board voted in favor to say no. I mean, so it will no longer be historic because there will be nothing historic on it, and then they can make it into a parking lot. So that was just a very routine sort of thing. Our next meeting is March 22nd with the Board of County Commissioners. And then I did get an email from Chris Ritter that she has yet another Plan C. So at this point, Plan A is still that the people on Maxburg will take the building. It sounds like they have solicited Terry Emmert's help as well to help move, and Terry said yes. So it sounds like it's going in that direction, which I'm really hoping for every day of my life, because Plan B and C is just going to be big. So we're hoping that doesn't have to happen, but I'll keep you posted. The only other thing was a land use that we didn't give input to, but it was a renewal of a temporary home for care, and it was approved subject to condition. So all good. Hey, Joe, you're really split, coming in and out. Can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you can still hear us.
Yes.
Oh, you're fine. Okay. We just can't, we kind of don't see you and then we do, but that's okay. Okay. And Bill has a question.
I was just going to say the same thing, that, Joe, your image keeps getting mixed with Tammy's image or Jessica's image or my image. And across the top of it, we're seeing ourselves, and then you're sort of on the bottom of it. I was just wondering what the hell's going on, but I guess none of us know. It's the Zoom gods.
No, it is. Somebody must have said, stay on top of Joe today.
Well, it looks like it's straight now.
Now it's good. Yeah.
It's good now.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheryl did share kindly with the Board of Treasurers report. Did anyone have any questions, concerns, or questions, or whatever, input? All good. Cheryl, anything to add to that Treasurers report?
Not to that. I just want to remind everyone that I am leaving town on March 28th. I will not be home until around the 18th of April. Tammy is going to have the checkbook for Hamlet expenses, and Joe is the one to contact with check requests for trust funds.
Perfect. And shall we do that at the community meeting next week?
Yes, and I have some receipts I'll need for you and Bill to sign a check for me. And speaking of reimbursements for me, do we have anything in the works for changes to our oh my goodness sakes. My mind's unpacking.
Any changes for
the bylaws? Because I remember Bill saying something a year or so ago that there's nothing in the bylaws about the treasurer being reimbursed.
I think that was right, but I think that the board agreed that you should be reimbursed. Clearly, I mean, but
Okay.
there's nothing in the bylaws that say that the treasurer can be reimbursed. There should be, but it's not there. And, at this point, it's up to the board, I think, to say, yes,
Okay.
reimburse Cheryl.
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, well, we'll bid you bon voyage next week.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, Cheryl. I think Jessica, Joe is going to report on Clackamas soil. Is that correct tonight?
Well, we haven't had the meeting yet. It's on the
Oh,
21st.
21st.
oh,
Right.
21st. Okay, all right, March.
Joe, are you going?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
Okay, all right, March 21, beautiful. Joe, did you have anything else to report tonight?
I'm on their budget committee
Oh, wonderful.
for
Oh,
for the soil and water, so we'll be doing budget meetings here pretty soon.
okay, great. I'll add that to our agendas then, just in case there's something you want to mention. Great,
Okay.
thank you, Joe. Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, Jessica, did you want, let's see, the February board minutes, not the community minutes, because there was not a community meeting, but the board minutes were sent out to everyone, correct? Okay, so all we do is ask everyone, did anyone have any corrections to the minutes? No, and if not, then we will just accept them by acclamation. Does that work? Beautiful, okay. And then there isn't a Clackamas soil water yet. And then we wanted to, because it kind of got mixed in with the whole February snow mess. You paid, Jessica, for the McAfee renewal for our computer, correct?
Who are you talking to?
Jessica, you. Didn't you pay for the McAfee?
Yes, I've not
Okay.
gotten reimbursed though.
Okay, so what we need to do is, did they send you like an email or anything that we could send on to Cheryl? And then we could reimburse you with a check next week?
Yes, so
Okay.
I did forward the McAfee bill that I received. Is that going to be sufficient?
As long as there's like, yes, an amount,
Yeah.
a date, and then all we have to do is have a motion in a second to reimburse.
Okay.
Do we want to do that now or at the meeting?
Let's do it here. I kind of like board meeting to do money. Cheryl?
in our general budget, didn't we have an amount of money already set aside for computer needs?
We do, but we didn't have like a specific because we never really know what the renewal is going to be. And so it can either be, well, only because I'd rather just have a motion and do it.
Okay.
You're right. We do have kind of an ongoing computer maintenance fee in our budget.
Oh, okay, all right, just curious.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion, Cheryl?
I do, I'd like to make a motion to accept. I don't have the amount immediately in front of me.
$89.99.
$89.99 to pay for the McAfee for the software for Jessica.
And who was seconding?
Second,
Oh, Joe seconded. Okay. Excellent. Any
He's
further
getting cut
discussion?
off a little bit, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If there's no further discussion, if you'll just use the raise hand feature, if you're supporting this reimbursement, just click her now. And looks like it's unanimous, Jessica. Thank you. Okay, good. Anything else for your agenda items, Jessica?
Are we going to be talking about computer, laptop, and OWL later?
We are when we get further down, because I got to talk about the screen and it'll all be under the the Grange topic. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Also for Rachel, I really want to take a moment to stop and really thank not just Jessica for helping to organize the meeting at the Clackamas Soil and creating this wonderful set of how to put on a hybrid Zoom meeting, but then Rachel had to learn it all and was there and eager. And I really want to take this moment to thank you both for just being so committed to doing that. And then unfortunately it all fell through, but I feel very confident the next time Jessica can't be there, that we've got a really good backup for our hybrid meetings. So again, Rachel, thank you. I'm sorry you couldn't, be a star and perform, but you were my hero, both of you. Thank you so much. And Rachel, did you have anything to report to us this evening?
Nope, not at all. I'm very excited for the next time I get to do it, and also just to shadow Jessica. Just again, that pressure to not feel so under pressure to be the only one doing something. I mean, I am here to support in any way, so I'm excited.
Well, and that might be a real thought, is when Jessica is there to actually have you do it.
Yeah,
That she could be shadowing you and have you physically do it. That might be a great idea. So
Yeah.
March or April or May, maybe we do that, because we won't always be at Clackamas Soil, but we will be at the Grange. And so
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you guys could talk and plan that.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yay. Thanks again. Okay, Kenny, March 2nd C4 meeting.
Oh, I'm unmuted already. Oh,
I do want to say that you sent a report out to the all the Hamlet chairs.
I
after the meeting.
did. So
Thank you.
thank you
And-
for the reminder. They talked a lot about the environmental assessment for the 205 project, and tolling was kind of the big stuff I remember them talking about.
Mhm.
And ODOT did push the comment period out to 60 days, so it's due, I think, April 21st now. So C4 wants to get a letter drafted so they can approve it at their next meeting at the beginning of April. I know they talked about it's like 200 pages almost, and it's a very technical document. So the different jurisdictions are all doing a lot to try and get their head around it and get valuable comments ready within the deadline. I think they're trying for another extension up to 90 days, but I don't know that ODOT will go for it.
Okay. I did want to mention that Bill Mart thanked you. I mean, I was talking about something else and he goes, hey, I got Kenny's report. That was really helpful. And then he reported to his board. So thank you for doing that. Nothing going on at the budget committee or budget or audit at the county yet? Okay, all right.
Bill's got his hand up.
Oh, Bill,
Have we seen that report from Kenny?
I didn't know if I forwarded it or not. So I have it and I will forward it unless you've got it right there, Kenny. It's no big deal. I'll find it and just forward it right on. And it's mainly what Kenny said, but I'll show you what he did up. It was really good. So
I think I included some links to the assessment, or at least to get you close to the assessment if you want to look at it.
okay. Cool. Okay, let's see. Moving along. Thank you. Mark, one of the things, and I have this for you, Cheryl, it's an envelope of cash. They did a Valentine raffle baskets, the baskets that they put at the saloon or the kitchen, kissing cakes. And they made $228 on the raffle basket. So I'll give that to Cheryl next week. So yay, that was pretty cool. I can't believe I didn't win. I was so sad. But I was there for the Valentine dinner and we got to pull the tickets. Well, Jack did. So
Question.
Jack did. Yes.
Are those funds restricted?
What does restricted mean?
Were they fundraised for a specific purpose, or were they just fundraised for the Hamlet?
Hold on. It says here, money for the corner park. So it was for whatever we choose, they want to use it for on the corner park.
Okay.
That was a really good question, Kenny. Thank you. Okay, then what else? Reader board. I believe Bill got the extra letters, right?
I got the extra letters and I need to get reimbursed for that. And I will get that to Cheryl and you. And I turned over all of the existing letters and the new letters and the filing system keep all of the letters and the numbers and everything straight. I turned that over to Mark, and he put up the sign this time, so it's in his basket now. And I also I got an email from Pam Ferlin about the St. Patrick's Day dinner at the Grange, and I responded and I copied Mark and I said, Pam, I'm no longer doing this. Mark is the guy. And so he got it, and he got something up on the reader board about the Grange St. Patrick's Day dinner.
Excellent. Yay. He is going to look into, and will be presenting, to put something at the bottom of the reader board that's a permanent beavercreek.org, so that we don't have to use our space and letters for that. So he's excited to find something that would look cool and present it to us. Then he's ordering the plastic covers to protect the letters so they don't,
Right.
find their way down Beaver Creek Road.
And one of the things we talked about that was that the sign maker says don't use those things over the letters because it can melt the letters. But we decided that that's probably not a real problem most of the time, only on the southern exposure on Leland roadside, and only in the summertime. So if he does something, it will only be used when it's wintry and blustery, and when we have problems losing letters, we can use it then. But he's still looking into that to see how the best way to handle it is.
That's a great idea, Bill.
He did acknowledge that the sign company says don't use overlay.
Okay, good to know. Hopefully he can remove those and put them back on easily.
Yeah.
The only other thing is, of course, if you're on Facebook, which I know you're not, Bill, but you're seeing these wonderful posters about the Easter basket raffle. This weekend, the baskets go into the saloon. So if you want to buy raffle tickets to win a basket, I'm hearing that one of the baskets is being sponsored by the, not a brewery. What is the place over there by the golf course on 213?
The distillery.
The distillery did one, and I guess it's pretty cool. So I'm like, let's not let kids buy that one. But so that's one. And then the other poster is this one. And again, Facebook, but it's just announcing going to the school. These are going to the schools. They're really, after last year's event, they're really, really, really excited about this year's event. So yes.
So I'm going to put up that poster on our website. As you know, we're still not as far along as we'd like to be. So on the first page of the website is where I'm putting everything. And I'll put that poster up there along with our meeting next week, announcing the meeting and stuff, so forth. So it'll be up on the website so people will be able to see it, and it won't be hidden for anybody.
Great. Did I get you both the posters on email, Bill?
I do have the post.
Great.
I only have one poster, but that's okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, we do want to promote the raffle though, too. So if I find that one, I'll get it to you.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I'll be glad to put either one of them
Yeah,
up.
because last year they made a lot on those baskets. So that's cool. Okay. And now, Bill, preload, you're up.
Okay, so the Region 1 Act is not met. We're going to be meeting next month, I think, in April. The CPO Summit is meeting, I think, next week. The Committee for Community Involvement has been meeting. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I don't know what happened there. The Community Road Fund Advisory Committee is meeting later this month. The Beavercreek Cooperative Telephone Company had the board meeting yesterday. Everything's still going fine. We haven't heard about the loan that will give us fiber to the home throughout Beavercreek. That's probably going to happen in April when we'll hear about that. But we are, we've been able to, there's a company called Calix that provides services for the broadband use of on the coax system right now and on Canby's system, fiber system. And it's a way of managing the connections on broadband, and by bringing all of the CBS companies together, which is Beavercreek, Canby, Scio, and now 5 other companies together, we've been able to get really good rates and cut our costs on things from like $10 a person to $3 a person, which is phenomenal savings. And so we're saving lots of money. We're doing well. Things are good for BCT right now.
Well, other than stranding you in San Diego during your national conference.
That was crazy, absolutely crazy. I got on a plane and flew all the way to the Oregon border, and they turned the plane around right about the Oregon border. And I flew back to San Diego, and I spent 2 more days in San Diego because I couldn't get out the next day on Thursday because Portland was still crazy. So I got out on Friday and I got back, but that flight was delayed by 6 hours. So I got back at like 10 p.m. on Friday and had to shovel all the snow off my car in the outer parking lot. I mean, it was a way out in the parking lot, way in the, back of beyond. So anyway, I got back, it wasn't too bad driving back. I heard that some people who were lucky enough to get on the ground landed in the snowstorm, and it took like 6 hours to get back here because it was so snowed up. And some people, 205 was possible. You couldn't get on 205 to go south. So some people took 82nd, and it took like 6 hours to get from the airport back to here to get home. So I'm glad I avoided all of that stuff too. So.
What a trip. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, and then website.
The website, I'm still working on it, and it's
Okay.
just really slow because I don't know WordPress, and I'm learning WordPress as I go along, but it's really slow. And I apologize because I thought we would have this much further along. And again, like I said before to you, I have received no help, although lots of people have said I'll help, but nobody has actually come forward to help.
Okay.
So I'm still just working on it, trying to get it done there. Yeah.
You
So that's,
asked me to bring up, I reviewed the registrar's information. Please note that registration of beavercreek.org expires July 31. Let's
Yes.
discuss renewing at the board meeting. The current rate is $24.99 per year with no discount for longer renewal periods.
yes,
So did we want, do you want to just renew it for a year, Bill?
well, I wanted to talk to the board about it because
Okay.
there's 2 things that can happen here. We can just renew it right now for $24.99 to keep beavercreek.org as our website. And that the registrar, oh, suddenly everybody disappeared. Are you still hearing me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we see and hear you.
Okay, well, I don't see anybody here. I don't know what happened.
Wow. Oh, I don't know. You keep going. I mean, we can hear you.
Okay, so if you can hear me, the website right now would cost $24.99 to renew. One of the things that we can do, and it renews at the end of July. So that's the other thing. We have a couple of months here to think about it. But one of the things I could also look at is looking at other registrars. Right now we're using the registrar we're using right now is a good registrar. I've used them in the past for lots of things. They generally have good prices, but each registrar is capable of charging whatever they want to for a particular domain name. And I could look at other registrars to see if we had a way of maybe keeping our costs a little bit lower. But I wanted to get some direction from the board about what I should be doing.
I don't know the going price, but $24.99 doesn't seem like a huge amount. But if you think you can get it for a lot less, it's worth shopping. But is it worth your time? And so I'm good with $24.99. But if you want to shop, hey, do it. Anyone else have any feeling about it, Cheryl?
I agree with you about $24.99 doesn't seem like an awful lot.
Yeah.
I would And I wonder too, would you have the time to look around, Bill? Should we just pay the $24.99 for a year and give you a year to research it to see if there's something a little better?
Well, like I said,
And-
it doesn't happen until the end of July. So we've got a little bit of time here to look at it.
Okay.
I can look at it over the next couple of months to see if I can find something better. But like I said, they're not the only registrar. I mean, there's tons of registrars. I mean, probably the most infamous one is GoDaddy, but there's all kinds of registrars that are out there that I can look at to see if they offer better prices for a .org website. I mean, it's basically, the cost is usually based on the subdomain of .org or .com or .biz or
Hey,
.us.
Bill, I'm just, because you just said it, DJ, I have DJ on GoDaddy, and I just renewed his $31.16, $31.16. Just FYI, I mean, just to start
Yep.
throwing some ideas out. Why don't I leave it? Kenny's got a question, but why don't I just leave it on your agenda item? And then in the coming month or two, you might get a chance to look. Kenny.
I don't think we can be significantly less than $25 for a year. Like, I don't think it's worth any time to spend on it. So unless we have like a service reason to change, I would just use the same thing and call it a day.
I agree with you, Kenny, in general, but sometimes different registrars are looking for more clients and they will give you a significant discount if you do multiple years. Right now, our registrar will only charge $24.99 a year and there's no lock-in. So if you did 10 years, it would be $244.99 or whatever. And that would be no big deal. But I know when D Church was looking at Hamlet of Beavercreek, I think is our website then, he got a huge deal by registering for 10 years. So he did the 10-year deal, but then he locked us out, so we couldn't use it. So that's another story. But I will be glad to look around. And like I said, you know, we got a couple of months here, so there's no rush. We know we can always renew at the last, even at the last minute. We could renew on July 30th, and it would still be fine. So there's no rush to quickly come to a decision here. I just wanted to bring it up for everybody's, you know, education and discussion.
Yeah, I guess I just wouldn't worry too much about it, especially as we're likely to not have a huge budget. So 25 is nice and manageable versus more for a longer term, but better price. I wouldn't worry about it.
Well,
Perfect.
I'll look and I'll let you guys know in the next couple of months.
Great. Anything, Bill, that you've heard, seen, done, Beavercreek Road, Highway 213 on transportation? Anything
No.
jumping out at you recently?
Unfortunately, no. I know that Mark was interested when Mark came over and picked up the letters. He was really interested in what we could do to get the county to be more involved with what Oregon City is doing on Beavercreek Road, because the county owns Beavercreek Road. The only real leverage they have against Oregon City doing anything is to limit the amount of access to Beavercreek Road that the county will permit. Because they own the road, they own the access to it, so they can limit the access. But they're probably not very inclined to do that. But that's the only, leverage that they have. But he was asking, what can we do about it? I don't think there's much we can do with ODOT. Unfortunately, I've come to the conclusion that ODOT does not give a shit, to put it accurately. That, ODOT does what ODOT wants to do, and you have to accept it because that's ODOT. And they're not going to do anything about 213 or Beavercreek Road or any of the problems that we all recognize. I mean, where 213 goes from 2 lanes down to 1 lane and then back up to 2 lanes and then down to 1 lane again. There in Oregon City, they're not going to widen that path south of Myers to make it 2 lanes all the way down further south. They're not going to do that. I'm sure that Oregon City is not going to do that. So we're stuck with what we've got right now. And I don't think ODOT's going to be anxious to change anything.
Okay, thank you so much, Bill. Anything else you wanted to report this evening?
No.
Okay, very, very good. All right. I sent off to everyone the agenda for the next Hamlet Public and Government Affairs quarterly meeting, which is Monday, March 20th from 4 to 5 p.m. So if anyone would care to join, you just click on the Zoom. Yes, go ahead.
I had told you I wasn't able to do that, but I am now able to do that.
Oh, wonderful. Great, great. Okay. We sent some, they called for some agenda items. We sent a couple in just general stuff, but we can always add to the agenda. And so that's what everybody has there. Let's see. Okay, Jessica, this is our Grange hybrid meeting so that we keep moving along. One of the items, obviously, we already have Wi-Fi from BCT at the Grange. We haven't looked into OWL yet, but Jessica, you looked into a PC. Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I have looked into OWL and I received a quote from, I don't remember the salesperson, but it is $1,049 for the OWL, just the single base OWL 3, which is their most up-to-date version. But again, that number is 54999.
Okay, 5499. What is that now?
Excuse me. The OWL is 1049.
1049. Was that it's not called a level 3. Maybe it was. I remember Jason saying what you want today is a level 3.
Yeah, it's the OWL 3. That's their
OWL 3. Okay.
make or model.
And is that the one OWL or 2?
No, it's the one.
The one. Okay. Okay.
That's the one we were talking about. Are we
Was.
interested in the other ones, which I think like it's obviously more expensive. Are people interested in the more expensive ones rather than the dual?
I don't think that we're really interested in the other one. The other one has the screen on it so that you can actually manage the meeting from the screen. But if we're using our own laptop to manage the meeting, I don't think you need the more expensive one. And I just want to say, let's double check the price at Amazon, because Amazon has, I think, the same prices as you just quoted, but I don't know. Sometimes things change.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bill.
It's just a summary there. I mean, there are some advantages to having 2. It's a wider, it can expand up to 28 feet with 2 owls of like the space that it can cover.
Yep.
But I mean, obviously, like the one that we're using at Clackamas Soil and Water Conservation District is just the one, or at least it was that one. And it was able to at least hear the people that were around the table. So I think that we can adapt it to the single one to the Grange.
And the other thing also is that owls can accept external microphones. So you can also get more microphones so that you could put a microphone in the back where people might be speaking, and the owl could pick up from that and zoom. The owl would turn and look at the person speaking based on that microphone input and be able to pick them up still. But it's different than having 2 owls. 2 owls is probably optimal, but 1 owl with microphones might be okay. And 1 owl with no microphones would still probably be acceptable, depending on how you configure the room, because part of the idea is if you put the owl sort of in the center of everything, it can look around and find the speaker and bring them up on the screen. But it's, handier if we'd have to sort of rearrange our meeting space at the Grange to be more of a semicircle for the board and a semicircle for the members who were there so that everybody could be picked up.
Yes.
And then what did you learn about the PC, Jessica?
The requirements, I did receive requirements from the OWL salesperson. And it looks like they're relatively minimal. And the laptop that I suggested and forwarded the quote on to the team will very much cover that. I also confirmed with Jason out at the Clackamas Water Conservation District, and he pointed to a resource of how to evaluate laptops. But my brother was also very helpful. And okay, what do we want to do, and how long do we want to be able to have this laptop for? And like I said, the one that I found on the Dell website, which is, it was $250, and now it looks like it's an extra $50 off. So right now it's at $549.99 for that Inspiron 16-inch laptop, which I think will do what we need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next item for that topic is the screen. So I did talk with Lisa at Clackamas Soil. The screen they have that we're now familiar with in their conference room is 12 feet wide and 7.5 feet tall. So with that information, I went on to Amazon, quite frankly, because I Googled it and everything that came close kept pointing me to Amazon. So I went there and I found, and there's obviously lots of choices. Stuff that you mount on the wall, stuff with a motor. So you click a button and then back up. And then there's stuff that you just hang and pull down. And the one I really like the best is a tripod. It's freestanding so that we don't have to mount anything on a Grange wall. We don't have to power it up. We might use it elsewhere. I mean, it becomes more portable. So it's a projector screen and stand. It is, now I'm into inches and I should have converted this. Okay. The one at Clackamas Soil is 144 inches wide. This one is 130 inches, so a little bit less. The one at Clackamas Soil is 90 inches tall. This would be 80 inches tall. And so pretty darn close. And I could get it for $109.99.
Wow.
So portable, seems really easy. I watched a YouTube video on how to put it up. Didn't seem too difficult. What I also liked is if you have it on the wall, you got to move everything to it. But if this one can come to the front of the stage or the back of the stage, it's a little bit easier. I just liked that idea and it was the most affordable. So that's what I found there. And let me think, is that our whole list? Yes. And we don't know about the projector that we have because we're going to have to test it. It may work swimmingly, but it may not also. But projectors aren't very expensive, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay. So let's talk about this. Wi-Fi free. Oh, yes,
Our
Bill.
projector has a zoom feature, so you can zoom it in and out to fill up the screen,
Good.
no matter how far back it is.
Good. Okay. So at this point, the owl is a $1,049. The owl is, I think you said about $550, Jess.
Sorry, the laptop is $550. Owl is $1049.
Okay. And then the screen is, I'm going to say 110. We're rounding up. So at this point, in order to get everything we would need, hold on.
1708.
Oh, they're so fast. 1708. So 1708. Now, one of the things that we could consider at one of the Public and Government Affairs / Hamlet quarterly meetings was Sue Hildick, who is the director of Public Affairs. Wilson, that's enough. Sorry. Is that they often retire PCs. And she was like, well, maybe we can just get you one. And I don't know how much to like count on that. I know.
I think it's going to depend. Are you talking about the PCs, Tammy?
Yeah, well, a couple different things. One was the PC, and it was just a comment she made at one of these meetings that, well, you know, we're often retiring our PCs. Maybe that'll work for you. Well, how do we do that? I mean, we could ask, we could maybe get linked up, but it was just recently mentioned, and I think we're going to have a PGA meeting, and I thought it would be a really good time to say we're seriously considering purchasing. However, if you have a pile of these PCs that would work for us, then we would graciously take one.
I would be cautious about making sure that the requirements are gonna meet our needs.
Okay, okay, that's what I need to hear. Let's not waste time if what we need is a new PC, which we have not purchased one in many, many years. So, okay, the other thing was, again, the Clackamas County bought an owl. Now, I don't know if it's a level 3, but it's now sitting on a shelf. And so again, should we say, hey, you know, you don't have to give it to us, let us use it. And if somebody else needs to use it, let us know, which they never will, but it's just a thought. I mean, it would save us $1,000. So should we ask?
I think it can't hurt to ask, because
Okay.
if we get it and it doesn't work, we can give it back to them.
There you
You
go.
know,
There
You
you
know,
go.
there's no loss, there's no downside to asking to borrow it and see what it is. I mean, if it's a level 2 and really doesn't work for us, we say, well, thank you for letting us try it out. It's not for us. And we do our own thing.
Okay, I like that. All right, so let's make a
Sorry.
plan here.
I
How
did-
about,
Sorry,
Oh.
Tammy. Yeah, just
go
really
ahead.
quick. I did want to say that the cost for the laptop is a sale price. So the normal one is $850. So just to let you guys know, and then I did ask when that was going to be non-existent anymore, and essentially they're trying to get rid of supplies. So it's there until all their supplies are gone.
Okay, well, and we do have in last year's budget, or the one we're working on right now, 500 set aside for a PC. So in a sense, we really do have almost all of it. If you're feeling, okay, so if this board feels the right thing to do right now is to go ahead and buy the PC, and maybe also, oh, look at that little one. Oh, somebody's gonna be like this in November. Rachel, so cute. And then if we want to go ahead and buy the PC, maybe go ahead and buy the screen, but we could talk with PGA about the owl. That could be a direction we could go in, and then discuss that at our April meeting. Or what's everybody's thoughts? Let's see some hands. Bill.
Sales go away, but new sales come up. So that sounds like a good price for the PC, but again, we don't know what the county has to offer. The county may be, top notch for everybody in the county and second best, but second best might still be as good or better than what we're looking at buying. So, I think I'd like to find out what the county has to offer as a, first step. I don't want to lose the sale if that's what's going to happen, because I think that it would be better to have one for sure than a maybe for sure, and then or have to pay more money for a laptop down the road. So that's my feeling about it.
Okay, and Rachel?
That was also my input, is maybe saying what the county has, just because I know there's certain times of year where there's better deals, to see what the county has to offer in the meantime, until maybe a better sale comes up or we decide what we're gonna do for sure. That's my input.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it. And Cheryl?
I took a quick look at the checkbook.
Mhm.
The last time we paid for a laptop was in 2016. I think regardless of the OWL project, we're due any day now to need a new computer.
Yeah.
And I am a little skeptical about taking a laptop from anyone, regardless of whether it comes from the county or not. You don't know the history behind it. That makes me a little leery.
And we will need, a business software like Word and Publisher, or at least PowerPoint. And that would be a question, but we can certainly ask the question, and our meeting's pretty soon. So that would be good. But Charlotte, it's a good point. You don't know what's been done with that computer.
Right, you don't. And I honestly think that the 540 something isn't that much for a computer these days.
Joe?
Can the county be asked during your guys' meeting next week?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, it was brought up at the last meeting.
And then we act on the next meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. And quite frankly, I'm sorry, I gotta pay a look at my calendar here, March 20, and then our Hamlet meeting is, the Hamlet meeting, right? Now. We could discuss this at the community meeting. That is no problem. We can make decisions there as well. So let's make it a point to say, can we please have a conversation afterwards or whatever and see what we can get from the county, even if we just need to try it out. Kenny?
I'd have the conversation at the next board meeting. I wouldn't try and have it at the community meeting. I think that just invite distraction
and maybe let's weigh out what it is we learn. Because if what we learn is no on both, well, it's a pretty simple decision then. But if it's yes, but and it's way more than we want to deal with, but let's see what the answer is. And what I can do is email the board for whoever doesn't make the PGA meeting. And we can decide whether we want to have that as an agenda item. But that's a good advice, Kenny. Thank you. Bill?
I suggest that you send PGA a heads up too and say, we're really interested in the laptop that you might be able to give us. Can you give us the specifications of that laptop? And that way, when we do get talked to them, we will have something better than just, we need a good laptop.
And Tammy, I can get those to you, like what to ask for.
Was it on the email you sent me? Well, you know what? You could give me like high level bullet points that I would actually.
And yeah, that's exactly what it is. Essentially, CPU, processor, RAM, operating system, motherboard, like pretty generic stuff like that.
Okay, I will email Chris Lyons and Sue Hildick and see whether, just say this has been mentioned in the past. Here's what we're looking for a level 3 OWL and a PC at this level. Is that still a possibility? And maybe we can just do this over email. Beautiful. Okay, wonderful. All excellent advice. It's why I love you all. Okay, next item on our list. I think we were going to use, was it Dropbox or Google Drive for store files and folders? Which one?
So I had an action item from last meeting to investigate the Google Drive option. And I thought I sent out a summary to the board here, so sorry if I didn't do that. Long story short, the Google Drive, and I talked with Bill when we was investigating this. So we found out that the Google Drive can be tied to a non-Google email account, but we have to be able to log into that. And so we decided to essentially create a Gmail for the board with the same password that's used for Zoom. But yeah, I'm just curious as to know if that's something, like if you guys want me to show you what that looks like right now, I can go over that. If everyone, I don't know if anyone's had a chance to like log into that that Gmail account and navigate to where the files are within Google Drive. Has
So
anyone had a
I
chance
guess
to
the
do that?
first question is Google Drive the right thing for this Hamlet to use to store all of from all the businesses that Cheryl has found and Cheryl's treasury instructional manual to your hybrid instructional manual, all the files I've got? You think that's the right vehicle for all of us to be storing on?
Yeah, I think that is like the alternative was Dropbox, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Bill, did you say last time that was, you have a personal Dropbox but that's paid for?
I have a personal Dropbox account that I pay for that has lots and lots of storage on it that I will be glad to share. But a Gmail account for the board at Gmail, hobboard@gmail.com or whatever would be fine. And then all of us could be able to log into that and get into it and use that drive communally, which is a little bit easier than sharing a space on Dropbox. Not much, but it's a little bit easier. So either way is fine, and it doesn't matter to me whether we're doing it Dropbox or not. I'm still going to keep my Dropbox account for my own use, but I'll, if I don't have to share it with the Hamlet, that's just fine. If I do, it's just fine. Either way is fine with me.
Okay. So would you want to give us a demo, Jess, or do you want to schedule it at a later time, or is this a good time, or?
Up to you. I mean,
Go. I mean, I'd love to see how you do this.
Share your screen.
Share away.
that one. So like I said, I don't know if people are familiar with Google Drive, but it's relatively simple. There are folders, and like the most used documents can appear at the top, but it's a folder type system like this. So like, for example, I created a work instructions folder, and we'll obviously need to create understand what the folder structure that we want to develop for this. But within each of these, we can have separate people, like whether it's the chair or a director with this type of function or treasurer, they can have their own folders, and it's very easy to just create another folder within this location. And then obviously drop files within those folders, kind of like the normal, File Explorer directory. And so you can go back up one level at a time.
Mm-hmm.
To share maybe what my personal one, that's not it.
I can see like the Hamlet at Beavercreek letterhead. I mean, that's a wonderful example, and
Mhm.
bylaws and procedures. I mean, there's just so much that could go on here. And I love the idea of having, everything pertaining to the treasurer, everything pertaining to the secretary, everything pertaining to the chair, but then all the miscellaneous, which would be our boundary map and our bylaws and.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I mean, we need to figure out what kind of folder structure would make sense to everyone.
Mhm.
And that needs a little bit of a brainstorming session.
Right.
But it's a folder based system. And right now this account has, 6.8 megs used of the 15 gigs. So there's quite a bit of storage, and most of these that we create are Word, or at least that I create, are Word or Excel, so very minimal space used. I'm curious if there are any other types of files that we would be putting on here. Obviously, we're not doing, we're not recording our meetings to here because we're not,
Right.
we're not tracking what we're actually submitting to Clackamas County.
Right.
You
Exactly.
want the county to do that.
Right.
You don't have to be responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question. One of the things that I have that takes quite a bit of room on my phone is all my Hamlet pictures from Easter egg hunts and concerts and things. Could we do pictures?
Of course.
Yes. Yeah. So
Oh.
I mean, you could create a new one, and then, I mean, you have to watch your storage depending on how big your pictures are and how many you have. It'll fill this up pretty quick. I know in my personal one, I can dump like a trip's worth of pictures, and it'll fill up most of my storage, and then I have to move it off of there because I don't buy storage.
So click the buy storage and let's see what it costs. Okay, so 100 gigabytes, 15 gigs is free, 100 gigs is $2 a month, $25 a year. 200 gigs is $3, $36 a year.
Mhm.
That's not terrible at all.
Mhm. If
So
we
I-
need it.
if we needed more storage, I mean, right now we're at the 50, if at the free 15 gigabyte level, we've got lots of space so far. But even if we had to move up to the 100 gigabyte level, which is a lot more than 15, it's still not onerously expensive.
So a question for you, Bill, with all the pictures that I'm sure that several of us have, would it be best to store those pictures on the website or in Google Drive?
I'm going to say it's probably a 6 to 1/2 dozen the other. At storing it in Google Drive, everybody can upload pictures to it.
Right.
And
But on the website, anyone in the community could tap into it and see pictures, but
but I mean, you move the things back and forth. You have a file on Google Drive that has a bunch of pictures, and you can link that file on the website so that it's really not on the website. It's really on a Google Drive, but somebody clicks the link and they see the picture.
oh, okay. Interesting. Cheryl?
Jess,
Mhm.
back to the file types. Will this handle any file type at all? PDFs, obviously it will do PDFs as well as Microsoft.
PowerPoint, yeah, PowerPoint, I know PowerPoint, PDF, obviously Word, Excel, yeah, it's just a storage thing.
All the image map files.
Yeah, all the image files, yep, I've the PD, not PDF, but JPEGs and all those other ones.
IMGs and
Yeah.
DWGs.
OMGs, movies.
I
We
mean,
need
it's
We
just,
need
a-
our YouTube channel.
it's a storage. You can dump any kind of file you want in there.
Okay,
And
okay. Cool. All right. So what is our next step? Do we want to do kind of a brainstorming of, getting together, maybe each of us making a list of the kind of stuff we have, or what's the best approach on that?
Yeah, I like that idea. If there are like types, if people have specific types of files.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, for me, because, Cheryl and I work together on the treasure stuff. She has all the treasure stuff, but guess what? So do I. And so we'll want to just get, the form to request a trust check, the form to, whatever that, so we would have a trust or a treasurer's file, and obviously a secretary's file on procedure and that kind of stuff. And then I guess just maybe general file, but should we all just kind of brainstorm, and maybe we could start an email thread of here's some thoughts and ideas, because I know we'll all be thinking of stuff and say, oh, let's get that on the list. Yeah. Because I can start an email thread.
Can I suggest that we have certain functions that might be useful? Like there's a treasurer function that includes all kinds of number things. And it's not necessarily just Excel spreadsheets. It's all kinds of treasurer things. It's how to request a check. It's how to do all of this other stuff. So we could have a treasurer function folder that would be treasurer stuff.
Right.
And all of the treasurer stuff would be in that treasurer folder, sort of whatever it was, whether it's spreadsheets or whether it's procedures or whether
inventory
it's a
and
doc or whatever, even an image file, a PNG file or a JPEG file, all of that stuff that would be useful in a treasurer capacity could be in that treasurer silo inside the overall Hamlet storage space. And conversely, for any of the other things, if there's a transportation side, we could put all the transportation stuff in there. If there's a Beavercreek documents side that includes the letterhead and the signage and whatever else there is that we have on in the that the Hamlet would use. That's all I'm saying, is to divide it sort of by function
Right.
first, and then anything can go into each of those functions.
I think that's a very good idea. Cheryl?
Is there, just to throw this out there, is there anything that the treasurer does that maybe we don't necessarily want to have available to everyone, that would be sensitive? For instance, the first thing that immediately comes to mind is check requests out of the trust account. We are we are reliant on the county, the staff on the receiving end, to know who is allowed to request money out of the trust account. For example, I think what I need to do right now is send an email to I guess Holly and Stacy, and CC at least Tammy and Bill, and let them know I'm going to be gone for a long duration. And in the meantime, if you get a check request from Joe Matteo, he is authorized to do so. Without notifying them, having check request information available on that Google Drive, we are banking on any future board members to have us have trust in them not to misuse it. I know that there was can't think of the guy's name, but past history with not so savory, well, maybe that's not the right choice of words. I just want to be cautious, is what I'm saying. I don't want to make that decision. The board should make the decision, but
Well,
go ahead.
I think that we have to rely in some part on the county, because they are the holders of the funds. And if we say, these are the people who are authorized to draw, and, or these are the people who are authorized to draw from the end of February to the middle of April, then we need to rely on the county to uphold their end of that by not distributing funds outside of those times to anybody that we don't say. So I think that it's really a matter of relying on the county as well as ourselves. They hold the funds. Anybody could ask for funds, but they're the ones who are going to write the check. So,
With regard to the trust account, though, think about all the problems that I've had with our funds in the trust account.
Oh, yeah.
And I honestly, I don't trust them. I don't. So, and maybe that's a conversation we should have with the county. To what degree can I need to think about this before I say it.
Well, I think that you're absolutely right. I think that when we have our quarterly meeting coming up next week, we need to say, how much can we trust you? And of course, they'll say completely, but we have to say why.
And a lot of times I hear from them, we have nothing to do with your trust money. Well, you do. You take deposits and you give us our money when we request it. And that's it. I have no heightened sense of protecting our checking account. It requires 2 signatures and approval, and that's covered. I will bet you anyone could send them a request for money out of that trust account and it would get done.
I totally disagree. I'm sorry, but I think if Stacy Davenport or Holly or anyone received a request from anybody but Cheryl, I would have a phone call within seconds. Why is John Smith on Spangler Road requesting a check? I mean, I think it would be immediate. So I think we should have that conversation, that if anyone but our treasurer, our vice chair, or our chair requested a check, would you question that? And let's see, because I think it's safer than we think, but let's make sure. Kenny?
Well,
Oh, sorry, Cheryl. Go ahead, Cheryl.
the last time I asked them about that, they told me that the requests go to Sue Hildick for approval before
Right,
they get sent to the treasurer's office.
right.
So how much is Sue in tune?
No, I mean, I don't even think it would get that far. I think if they received a request and it didn't have Cheryl Buchert on it, I would get a phone call right now. But let's see, let's ask that.
Okay.
Kenny?
I'll just point out that we had checks come out of somebody else's account and it took them how many years to figure it out?
I knew within a few months what was wrong. I
But-
intentionally waited to
Yeah.
see how long it would take them. And it took them over a year and they didn't find it until I went to them and told them.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't find it.
So I think there's valid reason to be concerned about their controls because they've demonstrated time and again, they don't have any. I think the other question that I had was, or I guess the question that I had, what are is it our bylaws that say it's the chair, vice chair, and treasurer? Is that a policy? Okay, so if it's a bylaw rule, how do we have Joe authorized to do it if he's not one of those 3 positions?
That's a really good question.
Well, wait a second, we're confusing things. The checking account can only be the 3 of us. That's the checking account. That is the chair, the vice chair, and the treasurer for the checking account. The other account is the trust account, and you're quite right that the trust account is not administered as securely as we might like.
But who
I'm
is
looking.
authorized to, and is that just the board picks who's authorized, or is it authorized by bylaws? Or
I'm looking at the bylaws right now, so give me a
The
second.
bylaws do not speak to this, as far as I remember.
Okay, I'll look. Okay, any other, I'm gonna look, Kenny, and I'll answer your question when I find it, but any other comments on that?
Yeah, I just threw something together, so I'm just gonna steal the screen if you guys don't mind.
Go.
Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Okay, so essentially did the same thing that you were suggesting, Bill, the different functions. I don't know if we wanted to break out what other functions we have, but then the different folders within that too. And then, like, for example, the communications has like the Hamlet letter. Is that what you were talking about?
Yep.
Okay. So my secretary has all my procedures and you can go back to, the chair, and if she has procedures, she can put it in there type thing.
makes lots of sense to me.
Okay. Cool. Do you want me to schedule like a working session then? But like, I think I had that action item from Tammy, Bill, and myself from a while ago.
Say that again, I didn't quite hear you.
Oh, do you want me to put together a working session for essentially, populating this?
Sure. Or
That'd be fun, yeah.
Okay,
we can individually populate it as well, right?
that's true. Absolutely.
Okay, back to page 9 of the bylaws. It says authorized requests for funds held by the county in trust for the hamlet shall be made in writing to the county liaison. So the gatekeeper of any deposits and check requests is our liaison. And yeah, and that's it. So if Cheryl says, Holly, Joe, while I'm in France, can request a trust check or deposit trust money, then she would duly note and be the gatekeeper of that. I think that's how the bylaws are reading, which is very different than checking, because Cheryl had pointed out 2 of us have to sign and.
Okay, so ultimately, the liaison gets to choose which of us is authorized based on what we tell.
No,
No,
we choose.
We choose.
We
Okay.
choose and we tell the liaison.
Okay, and then they're in charge of
Right.
sticking with that.
If,
Okay,
if liaison is derelict in their duty, that's on that's on them and it's not on us.
No.
And I would expect the county to make us whole.
Okay, good questions. Love working through this. Did we want to formulate a committee or just chat about that later, or are we going to populate individually on the Google share, or how do we want to do that, Jess or Bill?
I suggest that we populate ourselves and see what happens, and then
Okay.
come back together and take a look at what we've done and say, oh, wait, that belongs over there and this belongs over here, and we straighten it out because we can spend some time. It'll take some time to do this.
Right.
And if we try to do it all together, it'll take more time than if we do it when it's convenient for us, and then we come back and review.
Okay, awesome.
Kenny has a question again.
Oh, Kenny, please.
Yeah. Still related. Okay, so did you found that we pick who's authorized, we tell the liaison, they gatekeep it for us? Did you have anything that specifies who is currently authorized aside from the treasurer?
I don't even know how to answer that. Right now, the treasurer is the one that requests or deposits. I think if I did it, I don't know that they would question it. I think if Bill did it, they probably wouldn't question it because they know us, but we have a new liaison. So maybe if Bill did it, well, she knows you, Bill. So, but the point is, no, it's not. And we need to formalize that to say, Holly, as our liaison, these are the people that are allowed to do this. Quite frankly, it should be the treasurer, period. Then if she's going to be gone, not feeling well, whatever, then, hey, Holly, by the way, I'm going to be out of town. It's going to be Joe or Bill or Tammy or whatever. So, this is a good time since she's new. But at this point, if Cheryl requested it as the treasurer of the hamlet, I really doubt Holly would question it. Who knows?
Okay, then
I mean,
can I make a motion that
Please.
we set a policy or whatever, that the treasurer is authorized to request checks from the trust account, and that we temporarily authorize Joe to do so during, yes, Bill.
I would like to say that the treasurer can request checks, and the treasurer may deputize another board member to act in her stead.
And is that not what Kenny's doing, is making a motion for her to do that?
Kenny was saying something a little bit more restrictive. I want to say that Cheryl's the one who requests checks. And if Cheryl's not going to be available, she can deputize any one of the other of us to make those requests through the liaison, but it's Cheryl that has to make that request. I can't go over and say, hey, I need to make a request for a check. That should be turned down flatly, because Cheryl did not request that I be allowed to make a request. If Cheryl says, I want to have Joe authorized to make requests. Now, if Joe comes and says, I need to check, Joe should be accepted because the treasurer deputized him to make these requests, but nobody else is deputized to do that. So, it limits who can make those requests for checks, and it keeps it in the treasurer's hand so that the treasurer can decide who is authorized to request checks. And of course,
Okay,
that's a discussion with us all, but I think that that's perfectly reasonable.
so we have a motion on the table that the treasurer request a temporary of share to Joe. Go ahead, Kenny. Kenny?
I guess I do like having it be the board that would pick somebody instead of the treasurer having that unilateral power.
I don't object to that at all.
Okay.
I don't care either way.
Okay, so then the motion can be the treasurer has the authority to request checks from the trust account, and that the board can deputize somebody to act in the treasurer's stead should they be unable to act for an extended period of time.
I second that emotion.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, just use your raise hand feature if you're in support, or raise your hand. Just raise her right up. Okay. All right, let's move along. Everybody received a draft of the community meeting for next week.
I didn't count. Sorry, Tammy.
I'm
What was the
sorry.
count? Was it unanimous?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
saw
was.
everybody's hand up.
So before you move on, Tammy,
Yep.
do we want to deputize Joe? I think we probably should.
Okay, I just
I-
thought the motion was that the treasurer did it.
No, the board does it, and I
Oh,
move
I
that
see.
we deputize Joe to be able to request checks from the trust fund in Cheryl's absence.
Which is through the end of April. Is that right, Cheryl?
April 18th.
About April 18th, between the 28th of March and the 18th of April.
So I want to be generous and say to the end of April, just in case you get hung up in, Nice or something.
I will second the motion.
Wonderful. Kenny and Bill made the motion. Kenny second. Any further discussion? Wow, Joe, could be a big cruise on your. Please raise your hand if you're in support of this motion. Very good. Thank you all for keeping me on the straight and narrow. Okay. That's great. And then Bill and I can take care of the checking in Cheryl's absence.
Yep, I'm good to move on now. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Kenny. I can't report on the Forest Edge Winery because my meeting last week got canceled till next week. So that is not there. Everybody received a draft of the agenda for next week. I did, let's see, again, it's kind of a mirror of the February meeting. It's going to be Joe Merrick being our guest speaker, and he's ready to go again. There's no applications. There's lots and lots of applications that were approved because I couldn't report them last month, even though I already reported them to you. There's a treasurer's report. Bill will speak for BCT. Bill and Mark on any transportation. Jessica and Joe on Clackamas soil. Bill on the website. Earth Festival. If you recall, we talked about that at the February board meeting. We'll actually bring that up to see if there's some volunteers from the citizens. Park activities, Grange, Planning Commission. Anything I've missed for the community meeting next week? Oh, Cheryl, please.
Are Joe and I going to be sitting at the registrar table?
Oh, and it is here, sorry, okay, agenda, got through that. Safety topics, we'll cover that in a second. So yes, I had you and Joe down as registrars. Are you willing to sit at the table again?
Are you, Joe? Okay.
Okay, great. And will you, Cheryl, bring the sign in?
Oh, yes, I'm gonna take care of that and refreshments, and I made a turn your cell phone off sign, and I'm working on a donation box.
Oh my goodness, beautiful. That's excellent. Cheryl, thank you very, very much. Again, Mark and Jess, if you guys are Jess, maybe on the whiteboard, we can have all of our people kind of assigned and then just review it quickly. That would be fabulous. Let's see, right.
Rachel has her hand up.
And Rachel, go ahead, please.
Did we submit all of our questions to Joe Merrick that we talked about, I believe in January?
We really did, to the tune of like 2 pages. So what he did was he organized his spiel to kind of categorize all of that. And then, but I have the whole list and I'll be checking them off as he addresses them, because I know that'll be a few missed and we don't want to miss it because there's a lot of important things we really want to talk about. But Rachel, thank you. It was, I'm really surprised he's just willing to come because there's so much on that list, but that's great. And maybe we'll just have him back in a few months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be follow-up questions too, especially from the community, I'm sure.
Right, exactly. I'll probably be there between 6 and 6:30, and then refreshments, Cheryl, registrar, Joe and Cheryl. That's fabulous. We have, I think, a lot of the year now scheduled. Let's talk that through real quick. Obviously, Joe, in March. April is our wells and testing them and fixing them and that kind of thing. I'm keeping my finger crossed on that. April is also a town hall, so we'll have our staff liaison. In May, we'll have the Clackamas Soil talk to us about tansy and other invasive weeds. And we're going to have the Clackamas Fire District #1 in May. In June, code enforcement. Oh, yeah, that got changed. Oops, sorry. June is, hold on, mental health. It's going to be an introduction to mental health. That got changed. Hold on. July is the Oregon Agricultural Trust and our liaison, because that's a also a town hall. And then August, instead of mental health, I believe that is the code enforcement. September, I'm trying, this one's not locked in, the post office, that might take an act of Congress. And that's what I have so far. So things are starting to fall together, and some really, I think it's going to be really diversified, interesting guest speakers. So be fun. And Rick Fiala, who is in the Stafford Hamlet, has been very actively involved in the Oregon Agricultural Trust and would like to be there as not really a guest speaker, but as a person who has been working with them, any kind of just he wants to be a part of it. And I said, absolutely, we would invite him. So, okay, is that it? Yeah. So anything else for the community meeting? Thoughts, concerns, questions? Okay, wonderful. I think we're close to adjourning. I'll go ahead and adjourn at 8:24. But if there's anything off the record that anyone wants to talk about,